Hey you, do you like good combat systems and that's primarily what you look for in an RPG? Good, well you came to the right place. Does it not matter to you whether it's action, turn-based, or souls, you just want it to be designed well? Well good, you're in the right place. So every year I do a ranking where I take the best action combat systems of the year and give you a top 10 list. Now, obviously we're early in the 2025, but this year is kind of insane. We've gotten so many great RPG combat systems already that I have to make a video to outline some of them, especially if you guys haven't seen some of these. And this video is not action in particular. There's turn-based, there's strategy, there's souls, there's a whole bunch. So definitely stay tuned. And if you enjoy combat systems in RPGs, now, the first game I wanted to show is Expedition 33. I'm sure you've seen all the hype for this game, and one of the reasons is the combat system. They kind of tried to revolutionize turn-based combat here. Now, while I don't think they revolutionized it in a sense, it's still one of the best I've ever played. We still get a lot of great turn-based combat systems these days, but this one is definitely a little more out of the ordinary. On the offense, it's like your typical turn-based system. You're gonna buff, debuff, and basically try to get as much damage as you possibly can. The Picto system, which is a bunch of little perks you can put on your characters for like, you'll do 50% more damage if you have less HP. The start of battle, you're gonna do more damage. A bunch of different little things like that where you build your team in such a unique way. There's so many different combinations, and that is what you're used to with turn-based. Then you go on the defensive, and no joke, it turns into Sekiro. You have to parry or dodge all the moves of the enemies, and this wants you to kind of learn their patterns and really study the fight, and I think it's such a fun combination. At first, I didn't know how this was going to work because it's so different, offense and defense, but it really works here, and there's a huge skill ceiling in both ways. You strategizing on the offense, and then your reaction time on the defense. And the parries, oh my gosh, especially when you get that gradient counter. The next game I want to show is Dynasty Warriors Origins. Now, if you played a Dynasty Warriors game, you kind of know how this goes. You're going to be smashing armies of enemies, sending hundreds of enemies flying into the air. Now, this one is the best one, in my opinion, at least in terms of the combat. And it's because this game is more RPG than any of the previous ones. I mean, there's a story, there's a main silent protagonist, you have a lot of dialogue options, a lot of build options, like there's so many different weapons to use, and they all take a lot of skill. There's a lot of depth to each of them. One is not going to feel the same as the other, but there's two ways you feel like a badass in this game. Smashing through armies like normal, but it just looks cooler than ever. And then when you're fighting one-on-one with the bosses or the generals, it's just so good. You have to dodge, you have to parry. There's a lot of different nuance to it now that just makes it feel really special. Like you're basically going from a pristine Dynasty Warriors games into a more tight action game. The next game I want to showcase is AI Limit. Now, I think this one is kind of flying under the radar. It is a Souls-like, but I think a lot of people can enjoy this game as it's on the easier end of Souls-likes. And it's just got that anime art style. You collect a lot of outfits, and the best thing about this game is the weapon variety. There are so many different weapons you can collect, and they all have a special move to them that is always so fun to do. And then at the same time, there's a bunch of different spells in the game that are just really fun to do. You could just do more outlandish, crazier stuff than a normal Souls game, and at the price tag this game has, like $35 to $40, there's plenty of content here, and the combat system is very slick. It's not going to blow you away or anything, but it just works so well, and there's a lot of love put into this game. Now, staying in the Souls genre, the next one I want to talk about is the first Berserker, Kazan, and I genuinely don't think any game for the rest of the year will come close to this game's combat system. The only reason Expedition 33 has not beaten this game for me for Game of the Year is because the combat system in this game is literally the definition of a 10 out of 10. It just feels so good, everything works, and it does something special in my opinion. In a lot of Souls games, you're gonna smack the boss or enemies a few times and they're going to attack back, or eventually you'll knock them down and stab them for some big damage or something like that, right? In Kazan, it almost reminds me of the way Kingdom Hearts works, and if you ever fought Kingdom Hearts bosses, when you find an opening, they will stagger for a while and then retaliate. In Kazan, you have so many combos for each of your weapons, and you will just go on combo strings like a maniac.
Whoa, just take it easy, man.
The next game is Atelier Yumia, and this is a very interesting combat system, which is why I found it so fun. This game used to be a lot more turn-based back in the series, so this one has a bit more of an action approach. You're kind of in this circular arena when you're fighting enemies, and you can dodge moves, you can perfect dodge them and send in enemies, which basically acts like a counter, but you basically want to use moves in the order that's going to do the most damage, and just swapping between characters and watching the effects and animations of everything is just really fun. And of course, you're doing alchemy in this game, so you're gonna go craft some crazy items. You're basically gonna be doing your alchemy for like 30 minutes, trying to max everything, and then you're gonna go into battle and get to test how crazy the damage is. It's one of the most unique combat systems I played in a while, and I think a lot of people will enjoy this. And the final game I want to showcase is the 100-Line Last Defense Academy. If you were a fan of Danganronpa, I think you need to play this game regardless, or honestly, just for the story and characters, this game is so good. Like, I recommend this to anyone. It will for sure blow you away. There are 100 endings, and that is not an exaggeration. There's literally 100 different endings, and there's a lot of love poured into this game. But what's really cool is it's almost like Danganronpa style, but with a strategy turn-based combat system, kind of like Fire Emblem. Now, what I really love is the characters' weapons, their abilities, their perks. They all kind of go hand in hand with their personality. So everyone plays completely different, and the way their personality is, you could kind of expect to see that type of gameplay from them. And the game really encourages mistakes in a cool way. As in, there's waves in this game. So you're going to go through wave 1, then wave 2, and each character will respawn if they die in the next wave. So you could even go into a last resort super move, and if they're about to die, it's like instead of using them, just go into a crazy super move. It'll automatically kill your teammates, and then they come back in the next battle. So it's a really interesting style of strategy. And it's almost like a tower defense game at times. You either lose by having all your characters die, or they break into the school, which has a certain amount of hits it can take. So you put up like electric fences, explosive mines, a whole bunch of stuff like that. So it's a really fun strategy turn-based system. And those are the games I really recommend to pick up if you haven't already, because the combat systems in them are just absolutely spectacular. Now, it's ridiculous. We have so many more games coming to the rest of the year, like Lost Soul aside, Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. I could just go on and on. This year is going to be crazy, and the video I make at the end of the year ranking the best of the best is definitely going to be very interesting. We also had 2 remasters that I want to point out, which is Tales of Grace's F remaster and Xenoblade Chronicles X. Both of those have really good action combat systems, and if you haven't played those already, I also recommend those. I just didn't put them in the main list because those are remasters, but they still have fantastic combat systems to them. And yeah, compared to the previous 2 years, this year we have crazy combat systems way early. Like, it's only May and there's already this much to where I had to make a video outlining some of them. Let me know in the comments some of your favorite combat systems of the year. Mention some that I did not list so I could have more to play for my backlog. And I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in another one very soon. Peace.